everybody and welcome back. Today's video is going to be different. I think you could probably tell by the title of the video, so I'm just gonna jump straight into it. I am basically gonna tell you about how I got diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. So thinking back, I reckon my symptoms actually probably started in the summer of 2018, probably sort of around August, but I didn't really think anything of it at the time because the only symptoms I was really getting at the time was that I was excessively drinking all the time. I was so thirsty. I constantly felt like I was dehydrated. My mouth felt really like shriveled up and dry, and you know when you get that like sort of metallic taste because you are so dehydrated. That's what it felt like for me. And I excuse my hair. I don't think I really was dehydrated, but that's how I felt. So I was easily drinking probably best part of 5 litres of water a day on top of everything else that I was drinking. And as a consequence, that meant that I was constantly peeing. Like, I was always going to the toilet. I would have to get up in the night 2 or 3 times minimum, and I never normally get up to go to the toilet in the middle of the night. I normally go to the toilet before bed and I sleep right the way through. I'm fine. It wasn't normal, but I just kind of thought nothing of it because it was a pretty hot summer we were having. So I just assumed, it was just the weather, it was the sun and the heat, it was making me really dehydrated all the time, so I didn't really think anything of it. Sort of fast forward a little bit, go to sort of October, November time, sort of when I was getting back into wearing jeans again after living in shorts all summer. Go back into my jeans and I find that none of my jeans actually fit me anymore. They're all absolutely massive on me, like massive. So I was like really confused, and I thought, oh, that's great, I must have somehow lost some weight. But I didn't really think anything of it. I just kind of got rid of the old ones, bought some new ones, it was all fine. Fast forward again a little bit to December, where I go back home from uni for the Christmas holidays, and I had an appointment with my gynecologist, and she wanted to it was just a regular checkup, see how I'm doing, and she wanted to weigh me. And she was really surprised, and I was really surprised, but so over the moon at the time, that I'd lost really quite a lot of weight. I'd lost, I think she said something like 10 kilos, which is like 1.5 stones, which I don't really know how many that is in pounds. Probably 20 to 25 pounds. I don't really know. I don't know. I think she said it was something like 10 kilos, 1.5 stones, something like that. And she was asking me how I was doing it. Like, it's incredible that I'd lost all this weight in however many months it had been. It had only been something like 2 months, 3 months. I sat there and I thought about it, and I actually hadn't done anything. I wasn't any more active than usual. I hadn't changed my diet. In fact, I thought that I'd been eating really poorly because it was the beginning of a new year at uni, so I was stress eating, because that's what I do. I turn to food for comfort, and I'd been eating so much rubbish. I'd been eating chocolate, sweets, biscuits, cake, you name it. And yet I'd somehow lost all of that weight. It's very strange. But again, I didn't really think anything of it. We fast forward again to January. I had a deadline coming up for one of my modules at uni. I don't really know how to describe how I was feeling. I had no motivation, no energy. I was so tired. I was feeling really lethargic, really run down. I was almost feeling ill. I messaged my GP from back home and asked him if he could, write me a little note to maybe get me an extension, because I'd not finished my assignment because of how rubbish I'd been feeling. I didn't have the energy to even lift up my head and look at a laptop screen. I just wanted to lie in bed all the time and not do anything. So he told me to make a list of all the symptoms I'd had, and so I wrote it all down, the thirst, the constantly having to get up in the middle of the night, losing the weight, no energy. And I know this is too much information, but I'd actually been having several episodes of thrush, all these symptoms. And literally a day later, my dad messages me and goes, so I went to go and have my asthma checkup with the GP and all this kind of stuff. And he tells me that you need to go and get seen by a doctor or a nurse now. I was really confused. And he said he thinks that you've got type 1 diabetes. You need to go and have a blood test and a urine test now. Just kind of thought this was a bit strange, but okay. So I booked on the campus doctor to go and have the blood and urine tests, and I go in and I get seen by the nurse, and we take the blood test and the urine test, and her face just drops. She looked so surprised, and she just went, "Are you feeling okay?" And I said, "Yeah, I feel fine. I mean, I'm a bit tired, but yeah, I'm alright. Why?" "Nicole, your blood sugars are at 32.2. And I just went, I don't really understand. What is that high? Is that low? Is it normal? And then she explained to me that you're supposed to be between 4 and 8, and I was at 32.2. My blood sugars were so unbelievably high, and she explained to me that I had the largest amount of ketones in my urine that you can possibly get, and yet I hadn't gone into DKA, or diabetic ketoacidosis, which she explained to me was where your blood turns acidic because of how high your sugars are. And she just went, "You've got to go to A&E right now. I'm going to phone them and tell them you're coming. Like, you have to go to the hospital. I think you genuinely do have diabetes. You need to go right now." And she was going to try and phone an ambulance for me, and I said, "No, it's absolutely fine. I feel perfectly well. I'm okay. I can make my own way to the hospital. I'll be fine." My housemate messaged me and said wanted an update from the doctor. And I told her that I needed to go to the hospital, so she literally upped and left everything and came and picked me up, which was great, and she took me to the hospital. It was just crazy. I was just having a normal day at uni, and then all of a sudden I'm at the hospital. Literally went straight into A&E, got seen straight away, which that means you know that there's kind of something wrong if you're not waiting in A&E. Go straight through to ambulatory care. I get seen by a diabetic nurse. We do all the tests and everything, and lo and behold, diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. He was saying that it was so strange that I hadn't gone into DKA. He'd actually said to me that if I had waited another week, another day even, and I could have actually gone into a coma and potentially have died because of how high my blood sugars were, which is why he said it was an absolute miracle that I hadn't gone into DKA, because he was so surprised at how well I seemed to myself. Like, I was chatting with my housemate, I was sat there drinking water, I was having a chat to the nurses, and I was up and walking. I was absolutely fine. I mean, I felt a little bit faint when he took the blood, but that's because I hadn't really eaten anything. He said it was so strange. So I thankfully didn't have to stay in hospital overnight. I didn't get put on a drip, which kind of freaked me out a little bit considering how high my blood sugar levels were. I really thought that they would have kept me in overnight, but they acted very, very quickly, and I got put on the insulin straight away, and by the time I got home, my blood sugars had pretty much halved. So it was good. I mean, it was scary, but it was thankfully good. It was weird. And by the time I got home, I had a phone call from my dad and my mum, and they were wanting to know what the heck was going on, because the last thing they knew was that I was being seen by the nurse. And then I messaged my dad and said, I've got to go to A&E, and that was the last they'd heard from me. So obviously they were starting to panic a little bit, so I had to fill them in on that. And it kind of sucked being diagnosed while you're at university, because your parents are not there for you. I was so unbelievably grateful that I had my housemate, who is genuinely one of my best friends. She's amazing. She was there for me the whole time. She stayed so calm. She was asking all the right questions. She was retaining all the information. It was great. She was amazing. But I kept thinking the whole time, I was like, I really want my mum, and I really want my dad. I just want them both here right now. Because I've not really had much experience with hospitals. I've had a surgery before, but my mum was there for most of it, and so having to go to A&E and being rushed around and having doctors and nurses like reacting the way that they did kind of freaked me out a little bit, and it was all so strange, and it was such a whirlwind. So I don't know what to think of what happened, really. I still think I'm processing what's happened. I don't think I've really had time to breathe, if you will, over the fact that at the moment, type 1 diabetes is completely incurable. There is no cure. So at the moment, it's something I'm going to have to live with for the rest of my life. I feel like I've come to terms with it, but I don't know if I've fully processed it yet, because as of Wednesday just gone, it was my 6-week anniversary, so I have actually only had diabetes for 6 weeks. Well, I've officially been diagnosed with it for 6 weeks. I was diagnosed on the 30th of January 2019. That's my story, I guess. I don't think it made any sense, but that's my story. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe. That would be amazing. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.